let's go fishing. We've made it to our first hidden honey hole. I must say, there's not much water. The annual drought here in North Texas is definitely taking its toll on some of these smaller creeks and rivers, but they remain lively. Even though there's just a small little trickle in this one's raging little system, there's still fish lurking in here. I imagine we'll be able to find more water today, but this first spot is looking a little bit low. I reckon since we're fishing small water today, we might as well follow suit with the size of lure that we start off with. Got a couple options here. These are all crappie, panfish, trout, soft plastics, but the beautiful thing about these is just about anything will eat them, bass including. So I might start off with a little tiny tasty tube on a drop shot. I got very light line today. Nice. Just gonna drop shot a little tasty tube and see how aggressive these fish are. I believe I just saw some sort of bass or something swimming up there. Water's gin clear though. Oh, just had something. Just had a little something there. Oh, there's something. We're hooked up. What do we have here? Oh my gosh, there's so many fish. Oh, holy moly, there's tons of fish down there. That is so incredible. I just hooked something little, like a little bluegill, and the whole ecosystem came out to check to see what was going on. Oh, I just lost him. That's okay. I see a nice largie. It looked like there was also some gizzard shad still in this creek, which is very surprising, seeing as gizzard shad need usually deep, cool water this time of year, and especially current. It's weird because this time of year these fish are limited and secluded to what is essentially a puddle. I thought we'd see a couple fish here and there, but there seems to be quite a lot of activity going on. Oh, I got something. There we go. First fish of the day. How cool. That is awesome. Normally when I'm on these fishing missions, we try to target bass, but I've brought a myriad of tackle today to catch and hook anything. This, I think in particular, is a little green sunfish. They're really easy to catch this time of year because A, they're aggressive, and B, they've got bigger mouths. So you can catch them on like bigger lures. Not much, but this time of year when there's very little water, we'll take it. Back in the water he goes. Later, little guy. Something different opposed to just doing strictly a bass fishing mission. I find that when you open your horizons up and you are willing to catch a little bit of anything opposed to just that one favorite fish species, then chances are you're gonna have a much better time in the water. If you're just going for bass and the bass aren't biting, then that's a slow day on the water. But if you're down to catch some crappie, some bluegill, some trout, some panfish, might end up being a good day. Oh, there's actually a decent bass right there. It's actually really impressive. There's probably close to 40 fish just right in this little pool. You guys can't see it right now, obviously, because we don't have a polarizer on, but I might stick the GoPro on the water just to give you guys a perspective. I mean, there's bluegill, there's crappie, there's shad, there's quite a few largemouth. The largemouth actually look pretty healthy. I'm guessing probably because they're able to eat these shad that are cornered in this little tiny pool. All right, I suppose we should keep walking. Maybe come back to this spot, throw something a little bit smaller. As of now, I've kind of made myself known. These fish are getting a little smart. Wow, look at the minnows stuck in this pool. Gosh, life finds a way. I mean, this water is so shallow, but you still have fish thriving. Or I don't want to say thriving, but they're making ends meet. You'd think everything in here would be dead. The other factor that comes with low water is these fish become super vulnerable. You got, cormorants and herons and seagulls that know that the water's dropping, and they come and they, generally speaking, have easy pickings on the fish. But that's why a lot of times you'll just see fish like tucked way up under rocks. It's their only means of survival until we get rain here in Texas, which probably won't be until, I imagine, October, but some years it comes later. Ooh, check this out. It's kind of a neat find. Look at this. We got a little fossilized nautilus here. This creek bed used to be the ocean floor, tens of millions of years ago. So within the, I believe, sandstone or limestone, you've got remnants of what lived here before us. Sometimes if you look down in this creek bed, you can find cool and interesting fossils. Not all the creeks in Texas have that, but this one in particular, which is named after the fossils that you can sometimes find, will of course yield some pretty cool little fossils within the creek bed itself. Sometimes they're loose. Yeah, like see right here, this is all coral. It's pretty neat. And yet there's still fish living here. All right, let's give the popper a go. Just something completely different. There we go. Oh, looks like a little bug on the surface. Perfect popper scenario. Oh shoot! Oh God! No, 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 no! Get away, heron! 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 Get away! Oh, it could have been so bad, dude. Last time I did that, it didn't end well. I hooked a kingfisher on accident, and the kingfisher took my popper and flew right into a tree. And let me tell you, that was not fun. Oh, I just had PTSD, a little flashback there. My gosh, I thought herons were smarter than that. Usually it's seagulls that are the ones that are dumb enough to go for the popper. Okay, well, on that note, let's start fishing our way back. Maybe some of that water down creek is a little bit more productive. I just figured going up a little bit in the backwoods would have maybe yielded, oh, I don't know, maybe at least one fish. Yikes, dude, not the case. We're walking back to where we started, and I just pulled up this tree, and there's literally a mouse in it. Like, there's a mouse in this tree. I don't know what, he's just looking at me. Like, I'm making direct eye, like, look at this guy. He's acting weird. See that? He's just right there. He's just right there. That was stupid. I know it. We're about, I don't know, an hour into our mission. We've only caught one fish, but I've honestly just had more fun just visually scoping out this little spot. It is weird to think that we are on what essentially is the old ocean floor back, millions and millions of years ago, and we're still fishing where there used to be saltwater. Probably a lot less fish here now than there was back then. However, they are still around. They're just being a little finicky. I've switched to one of my favorite little clear, shallow water techniques, and that is throwing a little Guggen blooper. This is in a bluegill color, which I think is the predominant forage in here, although I was seeing some shad, which is very surprising. Look at this. I just want to give you a quick scope of this spot in particular, where I actually saw one bass living in. It's pretty nuts. Very clean, very skinny. Come springtime, the water will be, up to here. I mean, that's why there's literally a mouse in that tree, is because the water's flooded so high, it picks up garbage and it leaves it hanging on some of these limbs. But overall, this spot is really cool. Not our only spot for today, but I figured we'd start here just because it looked like it had some crystal clear water and maybe some potential to hold some nice fish. Wow. It's getting pretty shallow. A little too shallow. This is depressing. This is quite depressing. Just a little tiny trickle right here. That is the only thing feeding. Oh, there is fish though. Look at all that movement. But this is just a natural part of the Texas summer ebb and flow. Like, this is not out of the ordinary for there to be this little water. Oh shoot. Someone just started eating the popper. Came in hot for it. I think it was a green sunfish or something. Oh, there we go. That's a decent fish on the popper. That's a decent one. Got it done. Managed to get something decent. Hopefully, if it doesn't come off. There we go. Got him. That's unreal. Skinny water, dead heat of summer Texas topwater fishing. Unfreaking believable. No giant, but if you compare the size of this fish to this little puddle, this is an absolute behemoth. Such a pretty fish. Just a wee little guy, but enough to get you hyped. What's beautiful about these small creek and small pond missions is you don't need to worry about filling up the truck with 30 gallons of gas, or worry about hooking up the boat, or worrying about what lake you're gonna drop into. All you really need to be successful on one of these creek missions is grab a rod, some baits, and maybe a camera so you can document your day. Gotta appreciate the little things, and even the little things pack a bit of a punch every now and then. Let's get him unhooked and send him back. There he goes. Thanks for biting. very stealthy about this. I was about to leave, but I've returned to our starting point where I first initially laid eyes on this little hidden creek, and there's just a ton of bass, like a ton of decent ones, some twos, a couple of threes, 1 4-pounder, and they are literally stuck in this pool right now. I'm gonna see if I can crouch down a little bit, get a little stealthy, and throw a super finessey worm right in their direction. I find it very hard to believe they would eat. However, I think the only thing that might be on my side is the fact that these fish probably don't eat too much. So if they see something that's kind of slowly fluttering in front of their face, they might eat it. I don't know. Oh, got a good one. There we go. Finally got another one. Hell yeah, that worked out. Super finessey technique. Got another fish. That worked out really well. Unbelievable. Just staying super low to the edge of the water and not being right up in their face. I think definitely got that fish comfortable and willing to eat. You wouldn't think a fish that looks this healthy and this colored up in green would live in here, but that's why these little unassuming spots can be so much fun to fish, because not only is it cool to catch fish out of basically a puddle, but there's actually some pretty good fish that live in here. This is not a giant, but still, in the grand scheme of things, we will take it. Back in the water she goes. Nice underwater release there. Later. This is pretty wild. I'm definitely gonna have to try to put a camera in the water because you probably won't believe me, but there is several very nice bass in this little tiny puddle. Mind you, it's not like it's a little puddle and then it gets deeper elsewhere, or these fish can swim throughout this section of the river. No, the fish are stuck in here right now. I've already caught one, crept down really low and slow. I've got my little worm tackle box here. It's good to always pack little stuff when you're on these creek missions. I'm throwing a tiny Guggen pinner worm. It's like a 5-inch finesse worm, and I'm taking my little tiny hook that basically I use for drop shot fishing, and I'm just wacky worming it. It's essentially a weightless finesse wacky worm. And if you notice, I'm crouched down, I'm very far away from the water's edge, and I'm getting a couple casts right on the edge, the deepest point in this little system, and I'm just slowly working that worm. Slowly. One puddle down, a couple more to go. I would say that this spot yielded a satisfactory result. I think we caught 2 bass and a little bluegill. It is just amazing that there's even fish in there right now. I was seeing a lot more, like I was mentioning earlier. However, I don't know how I can get those fish to bite. I think the only way I could probably get one of those fish to commit would be if I used one of the live shad that were swimming around in that pool, or a bluegill, or if I were to take basically one cast in a low light setting with a finessey worm. Other than that, those fish knew I was there. I knew that they were there. They were holding out. They were waiting for me to leave. Actually, every time I'd kind of step back away from the edge, they would kind of poke their heads out from under the rocks. They were literally hiding under the rocks. You have to be a smart fish in order to live in those scenarios. Yeah, we're headed back to the truck right now. We're gonna check out a couple more little zones that I have yet to fish this year. Stuff that probably will look very similar to this, maybe even cleaner or smaller or fishier. Time will tell though. I'll meet you guys there. Well, it's gonna be that time of day where if I don't put some of my daughter's sunscreen on, I'm gonna start looking like a tomato. I think I need to blend that in some more. It appears that our ancient creek continues. We've traveled another 5 miles downstream where there is, surprisingly, a little bit more water. I've been using my drone right now to cheat a little bit, if you will, to try to find some of these deeper holes. What I'm noticing is that a lot of the creek is just dry. So I'm really attempting to find stretches of the river where it's at least like 1 to 2 feet deep. And as you guys saw previously, that's all we need to find fish. Spot number 2, same river, same fossilized river. However, this looks completely different and hopefully has some more fish. All right, let's go. Camera, get the bag. Let's lock up the old diesel. Okay, the adventure continues. Let's see what we can find. No snakes, please. No snakes. This is pretty steep. I gotta watch my step. Wow, getting down here is gonna be interesting. Oh boy. Almost there. What a process to get down here. Oh wow, this looks super fishy. This to me, Stream Summer Zone. It's probably one of the only bits of shade in this entire stretch of the river. There's definitely gonna be some fish on here, no doubt. Oh, you just ate it. That was cool. Oh, he came off, no. I just watched that fish eat my worm. That was pretty neat. Just a wee little guy. I don't know where these big ones are at. There's definitely some big ones down here. It's not that deep down there. It's still probably only about 1 foot to 2 feet. Meaning if there was fish down in this area, they would have seen it and definitely had a chew. Oh, there we go. That's a nice fish. That's a good one. Got one finally. In the spot, under the bridge. Ooh, it's a good one. That's not a bad little fish. For a dried up creek, that's not too shabby. Come here. Whew. Got him. New spot, and the bass are still biting. Beautiful little bass. In the grand scheme of things, this is like, you know, if I were to catch a 5-pounder on a lake, it feels pretty good, even though it's barely a 1-pounder. Catching it out of a scenario like this makes it 10 times more hype, in my opinion. Beautiful fish too, absolutely gorgeous. And with that in mind, we're gonna send her back, make sure that she lives throughout the summer and into winter, and potentially grows to be a 2, 3, 4-pounder. That's the cool thing about Texas, is these waterways never really freeze. I mean, we have had some cold winters, I guess, recently, but overall, these fish don't have to worry about their metabolism slowing down. They're always gonna be eating, they're always gonna be able to thrive, whether it be a shallow creek or a big lake. Therefore, that fish someday could be, you know, my new personal best. It's very unlikely, but it's not impossible, in other words. Oh, that was fun. Let's see if we can get another. Oh, there we go, another one, another one. Oh, this one's big. This is a big one. Oh my gosh, this is a giant fish. This is a giant fish. What do I have? Is this a bass? This is a big one. Oh my gosh, what is this? This is a bass, it's big. No, it's a drum. It's a huge drum. Is it a bass or a drum? What do I have? What do I have? This thing is huge. Oh, it's a giant drum. That is crazy. That is so unexpected. Oh my gosh. Look at the size of that fish. That is absurd. An absolute absurd catch to have in a creek. Oh, he hammered it too. Just goes to show that food in here is probably so scarce that this drum took the opportunity to eat a little finesse worm. This is incredible. What an amazing catch. Not only to catch a fish this big out of such a small body of water, but to do it in basically an underappreciated, overlooked spot. That is so freaking cool, man. That right there is a drum, sheep's head, or as Texans like to call them, gaspergoo. People think that they only eat like dead stuff like shrimp or, you know, cut bait, but you can catch them oftentimes on crankbaits. They are, you know, related to black drum and red drum that people love to catch. These fish just get kind of a bad rap. I don't know what it is, but I've caught a lot on jigs and crankbaits, and they are so much fun. And this might be my first ever creek gaspergoo. And I don't know, hopefully it's not my last, because that was a fun fight. Okay, let's send her back in the water. This poor fish is very skinny. We need some rain to push some food in the direction of these fish. Although the bass seem healthy, so I don't know why this guy's not doing good. He probably needs to eat way more than the bass. Quick look, and we'll send her back in the water. There she goes. I said this once and I'll say it again. You never know what you're gonna find in a tiny hidden creek. Point in case. Unbelievable. There we go. Another fish. Unreal. This little spot's loaded. That is so much fun. Got down and dirty under the drain and was able to get a little bit farther cast in there. Oop. There she goes. this is pretty ironic. There's a huge sign next to the road that's adjacent to this creek that we're gonna fish. And it says no dumping. Meanwhile, look behind me. You've got lots of dumping, exuberant amounts of dumping, including the back half of a truck. As you can tell, we've really stayed on the path of fishing hidden urban spots. Now, this is a series that I want to continue on this channel, that being fishing hidden waters, unassuming little ditches, creeks, zones that most normal people wouldn't fish. And my plan, of course, is to also fish some waters that are rural, not just urban waters, but I wanted to get it kicked off today to show you guys that it's possible to catch fish under busy highway bridges in probably one of the worst times to fish. Gin Clearwater. Just something you wouldn't expect to find here in all that traffic. Anytime I see a little bit of current this time of year, generally speaking, at the end of that current, there should be some fish. This current means two things, one of which is it means cool water and also oxygenated water, which is vital this time of year. Fish are struggling to find that dissolved O2. This water's so clean. Oh, what is that? Oh, little bass. He can eat it. That fish can definitely eat it. Come on, kill it. Oh, he's getting spooky. There's a little catfish in this pool. He might eat this worm. He looked like he was fired up to just have something hit the water near him. Oh, he just ate it. That was so cool. That was so neat. He came right up from under the trees. What do we have here? Oh, this is a spotted bass. Something different. Very cool. Check that out. Super pretty. You can tell it's a spot because it's got a little bit more green and pattern right above the lateral line, and below the lateral line you've got some tiny little stripes. Also too, they've got a little rough spot on their tongue. That's awesome. Something new. So all I'm doing to get these bites is I'm casting right along the edge of this debris pile. This is all just from high water levels, like this spring, from when this creek was probably well over my head, just rushing, completely brown, just a raging freaking torrent of current. Now, obviously we haven't had rain in months, so it's chilled out to basically a babbling little brook, if even that's what you could call it. It's barely moving. What the high water has done is it's brought a nice bit of natural structure for these fish to relate to. It's an area for them to get cool, hide from the elements, and also stay away from the birds too. They're just very easy targets in here for cormorants and herring and any sort of fish-eating bird. Oh, that was insane! Aggressive little dudes. Is this a largemouth or a spot? It's a largemouth. I thought it was another spot for a second. Wow, dude, that was wild. He's eating this lure strictly on reaction. Later, dude. You have to appreciate the little things in life, especially as an angler. Oh, there's a bass right there. There's a bass right there. Oh, he sees it. He's gonna crush it. Oh, the bluegill on it, too fierce. Oh my gosh, come on. No. The bluegill are outgunning the largemouth right now. Every time I try to throw in front of a largemouth, the bluegill come in so hot. Ooh, there's a nice bass right there. Oh my God. Oh, it's a big one. That's a big one. What do I have? Oh, what is that, catfish? Oh my gosh, there's a lot of fish over there. I just threw in there and it looked like I had a catfish and a couple bass chased me down. Unfortunately, I got the smaller one of the group, little green sunfish again. Nice little greenie. We started the day with a greenie, we might end on it too. Very cool. The sunfish in general is fun, especially on light tackle. I'm gonna get a big toss on him. I do not want to spook the rest of the fish that are in that pool. It looks like there's a really big bass in there, like 2 or 3 really big bass. I'm gonna get a different worm on. If we can end today on like a nice 2-pounder, that would be cool. Like I said too, I didn't even anticipate doing too much bass fishing today. That's why I brought my 7-foot ultralight. I was down to do some pan fishing, but the largemouth seemed to really be out and about right now, which is surprising. It's very surprising. Another neck down. There was that deep pool. Fished it out, got a couple bites. Now it gets skinny again. Might have another deep hole up here. Maybe, possibly. Oh my gosh, that was insane. That was insane. Oh my gosh, that's actually a decent fish. As soon as it hit the water, that fish trucked it. Oh my gosh, that's a spot. That's a spot. That is a spot. That's a pretty big spot. Holy moly, dude. That was crazy. Decent little spot. If only we had a big camera out for that. That was ridiculous. I threw it in there, twitched it once, and this fish came completely out of the freaking water for it. This is why we do this, because you're not gonna have moments like that, you know, all the time, especially on the boat. But from the bank, there's no telling. There's absolutely no telling. Beautiful fish. Look at the colors on him. He's gorgeous. Unreal. That was an exciting eat. Well worth the trek down here in the no dumping zone. Well, it appears I should have worn shorts and my water shoes today, because we're going in. I always do this. I'm like, I wear my boots, I'm not gonna go in the water, and I'll just wear pants because it might be buggy. You know, I don't wanna like wear shorts. And then I end up doing this. You gotta risk it for the biscuit though. I'm feeling like there could be some fish up here. This might be our last little spot of the day. It looks like it's getting a little bit shallower and the bank's getting pretty cut tight. So I don't know how much farther we're gonna go. Regardless, this water's warm. I can't believe these fish are in here right now, because it feels like I'm swimming through a bowl of microwave Campbell's soup. It's disgusting. Look at all these fish right here. This is incredible. Look at all these fish. Somehow I'm snagged on something. That is ridiculous. There's so many fish over here. I'm literally watching them come up and eat my lure. Freaking wild, man. There's like probably 10 little spotted bass, all about this size. A couple catfish. Dozens of bluegill, probably over 100 bluegill. They're all just congregated in this semi-deep pool. Oh, I got soggy boots now. I don't know why I wore boots and not water shoes, but right now they're technically water shoes. They're full of water. Oh, nice, man. Gonna get a workout in the calves today. There we go. Little squeak. There's so many bass in here. This water looks pretty rough. Like, I don't know if you guys can tell. I mean, obviously you can tell. You'd have to be watching this video with your eyes closed not to tell, but the farther down I've gotten, the slower the current has become. Therefore, this water's starting to take a turn for the worse. Bit of an algae bloom on the surface, which usually is not a good thing. It's not a bad thing, but it's not a good thing per se. The fish don't seem to mind it. They're fired up over here. They're still in hordes, in large numbers. I think also too, they're sticking to this spot because it is deep. All winners. This is it. I planned on today fishing 3 little hidden honey holes, and we did just that today. Caught fish at every single spot we went to, and I feel like it got better and better as the day progressed. First spot was unique, I would say. It's a little shallow, probably the least amount of water in all the spots that we fished, but we did manage to get a couple of bass, one on the popper, which is always fun. The second spot was fun because we got that giant drum, and of course this last spot was neat because we caught that unexpected spotted bass, which I didn't even know was in here. This Hidden Waters mission was fun. If you guys enjoyed this genre, this style of video, drop a comment, let me know down below. I've just wanted to kind of get back to what I enjoy filming, and that is, you know, leaving the boat behind, leaving all the gear behind, picking up a couple rods and the camera and just filming solo for y'all, just like how we did back in the day. It's fun, it's nice, it's relaxing, and ultimately I think you guys enjoy it. But we're peacing out, signing out. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to check out the pinner worm, the worm that basically got it done today, where I caught all my fish on, essentially, with the exception of the blooper. I'll leave a link down below. If you use my code JOHNB, you save 10% off your entire order. But I'm peacing out, signing out. Thank you guys for watching. And as always, folks, keep fishing, never stop.